Hey everybody, today is June 27th. Bitcoin's price 30,800. Definitely a lot of news to cover today. Definitely with a lot of things going on in TradFi. So Fidelity just came out with a Bitcoin ETF filing. We'll talk about Ark, Spain's largest bank getting into Bitcoin in the Lightning Network, some stuff in Switzerland, and some stuff with staked ETH. So let's dive right in. So like I said, Bitcoin's doing pretty well. We all love to see it above 30K. I think a lot of this TradFi stuff has led to a lot of capital flooding into Bitcoin and a lot of overall positive sentiment. Fidelity just came out with, a kind of potential leak. But when it comes to stuff like this, I think it's pretty obvious that, they want to get the news out there. So they've got 4.2 trillion in assets under management, and they are filing for a Bitcoin spot ETF right after BlackRock. BlackRock has kind of awakened this whole wave of ETFs again for Bitcoin. The big difference now is that it's not these smaller funds and companies trying to get ETFs approved with the SEC. BlackRock obviously being the biggest asset manager in the world. Their track record is like 575 ETFs getting approved and only one not getting approved. So I think people's overall opinion is that BlackRock probably has some kind of insider information with the SEC and they wouldn't file an ETF if they weren't confident they could get it approved. So that's going to be interesting to watch. So a lot of people are also saying that Ark is potentially first in line for a Bitcoin ETF approval. The main thing that people are citing here is that the next SEC decision date, particularly for Ark's ETF filing, is August 13th. And the other applications don't even have a date yet. And that's because Ark had filed theirs, a few months before everyone else. So potentially going to see Ark's ETF, come in before BlackRock. My general line of thinking, though, is that BlackRock is so sophisticated. They have so much money. They have so many connections. I would be a little bit surprised if Ark's gets approved before BlackRock. Just given how much connection and power and influence that they have. And I do believe that BlackRock wants to be the first ETF for Bitcoin. So, I definitely could see them somehow swooping in, whether they somehow get an SEC decision date, before this one, or or the SEC doesn't approve ARKs for some unknown reason or some random reason that they outline. And then BlackRock kind of swoops in and gets their ETF approved. I could definitely see it happening. That's all I'm saying. So Spain's largest bank, they put out this like whole crypto 101 report. And in it, they talk about the Bitcoin Lightning Network. They say that they believe it can facilitate over 1 million transactions per second compared to 20,000 per second for, TradFi networks like Visa. So obviously something we kind of all already know, but I think the Lightning Network is starting to get a lot more attention, not necessarily adoption, but attention in TradFi and the potential efficiency that it can provide, especially if you can start to sidestep a lot of these companies like Visa and really like the whole credit card fee and payment fee industry is a huge industry and they charge massive fees. So Lightning Network can do it a lot cheaper. And it's going to be interesting to see if, it gets adopted more widely, but at least it's getting, talked about, by some of these TradFi players. So the Swiss central bank is doing some tests with a CBDC. But I think what was interesting in this article is that they said this is not just an experiment. It will be real money equivalent to bank reserves. And the objective is to test real transactions with market participants. So I think the interesting thing here is that it's not theoretical and it's not like some necessarily small scale of test. Seems to be a little bit more important and tangible than that. A lot of people always say that they think CBDCs are like 15, 20 years away, but I've always been of the thinking that they're only a few years away. And they're gonna happen a lot faster than everyone realizes, in my personal opinion. So Will Clemente, obviously pretty well known in the Bitcoin space for doing on-chain analysis. He said there's 1 million whole coiners on the Bitcoin network now. Obviously Glassnode being a good source of data. So a whole coiner basically just means that it's a Bitcoin address that has at least one Bitcoin in it. So obviously right now that would be a little over 30 grand worth of dollars in that address. So now there's a million addresses that have at least one Bitcoin. That's obviously really awesome to see. And if you kind of zoom out, take a bigger picture at it, we're seeing a lot more on-chain activity, especially since FTX and the crackdown on crypto exchanges. We're seeing a lot of Bitcoin move off exchange. We're seeing a lot more activity on chain. So I think that's overall pretty bullish for Bitcoin and crypto. Especially in the context of not putting all of our eggs in one basket with these exchanges. I think FTX kind of scared a lot of people and probably in a good way. So very similar to like the whole Mt. Gox event, so many years ago now, where you saw a much more widening of what was available, and that is almost like a diversification for the crypto industry. So definitely like to see that. CZ tweeted that Hong Kong is moving forward. So the interesting thing here is that they're starting to list or announce or talk about at least some of these more lesser known cryptos. So especially in the context of the US, even the top comment here is bullish on Hong Kong, bearish on US. So, just going forward with innovation and siding with, hey, we do want to protect investors. We do want to, be prudent about regulation, but, you still kind of have to look at these technologies and acknowledge their existence. So, I think Hong Kong's doing something good here where, at the very least, they're acknowledging the existence of these cryptocurrencies. Whether or not they're okay with them, that obviously will remain to be seen. I threw this article in here because one of the main things that people ask is, when altcoin bear market ends. So like everyone's looking forward to altcoins going up. And this is probably like my 5th crypto cycle now. And obviously the first cycle was, Bitcoin, and it was only Bitcoin. And then suddenly Ethereum came out, and then, people got kind of bullish on, oh, what's this Ethereum thing? Is it going to replace Bitcoin? And all sorts of narratives came out about that. So I remember buying Ethereum when it was like $30. And obviously I was pretty bullish on the whole, the smart network and the global computing network ideas behind Ethereum. So, fast forward to the next couple of cycles, and altcoins have taken a major role in the narrative. Bitcoin dominance is like 52% right now. So what you tend to see with these cycles, and obviously nothing's guaranteed and it's all past results, but Bitcoin tends to outperform, and then suddenly the altcoin narrative breaks through, and you start to see some of these altcoins outperform Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance decreases. So Bitcoin dominance, scales up at the beginning of a bull market, and then it decreases, towards the middle of the bull market, roughly speaking. And, the reason why people love altcoins and they love the ideas of them is that, a $50 million market cap token can go up a lot more than, Bitcoin, which is $600 billion in market cap. So altcoins kind of give that promise of like almost like a penny stock. And, I obviously own some altcoins too, but I think the reason why I wanted to just shove this in here is that some altcoins are doing well, others are not. So one thing that we're going to have to keep our eyes on is when the altcoin market kind of starts to recover. Most altcoins are still down over 90% from the bull market. So, definitely something to keep an eye on, especially if you own some alts. Staked ETH surpassed 19% of the supply locks. So the reason why I found this interesting is, similar narrative to what happened with Bitcoin, with Bitcoin moving off exchanges. Same thing's going on with Ethereum. It's moving off of exchanges. I think it said here that Coinbase, the Coinbase ETH balance declined 1 million ETH, which is almost $2 billion worth of Ethereum that left Coinbase. Binance lost a little bit of ETH, but not nearly as much as Coinbase. I think more people are bearish on Coinbase since all the SEC crackdowns. But the overall narrative I think is good and positive, which is that Ethereum and Bitcoin are moving off of exchanges and into on-chain wallets, which is always good to see. I think, if you're heavy into the crypto space, you love to see on-chain activity rather than centralized activity. So last thing here, I think most of us believe that, if we aren't already in a recession, that a recession is 100% going to happen. So HSBC, it's one of the largest banks in the world, based out of England, I think. They warned that a U.S. recession is coming this year, and you see a lot of politicians and figureheads talking about how a recession is coming, and even in these comments, you can see what a shock, pretends to be shocked. So I think most people, anyone with a practical view of the world, knows that we're already in a recession, or at least that one is definitely going to happen. So just thought I'd throw that in there, that it's that narrative is kind of taking shape about the recession. So the bigger picture there is that I think the sentiment of the overall market has gotten a lot more shaky. So when things are bullish, people are really, really bullish, as we see with the Bitcoin price right now. And when things are bearish, people are, really, really bearish. And you'll see things whipsaw a lot, and a lot of volatility enter the market. So something I'm keeping an eye on. And if you want to get more news like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.